Blame me if I don't love you, okay? Hello, and welcome back to the show. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And like this episode, who better to spurn his final wife standing than Kody Brown? Ever since his very first divorce, the Sister Wives star has been down on his luck and has never quite recovered. Fans have seen him become increasingly bitter and furious for the last few seasons. Also, most of his aggravation has been vented on Robyn Brown. Though in the recent episode, Kody put his current marriage at risk by being ridiculous. On Sister Wives, Kody Brown is acting out of character. Typically, when you go on a Valentine's Day date with your wife, you attempt to be a little bit happier than normal. But not Kody. Rather than enjoying the love of his life, he took the drama to a level so over the top that even Robyn had trouble keeping up. Following 3 divorces in only 14 months, Kody complained to the cameras, "My church is a cult," Kody declared. "Marriage itself is like a cult too. Easy to get into, but hard to leave. I don't mean to be derogatory about marriage," he said, "but it's simple to get in and difficult to get out. It's difficult not to feel resentful knowing I invested in it and followed through on it because towards the end, it felt awful." Kody informed his 4th wife over dinner that he's not ready to open up his heart again. "I'm literally bitter sometimes," he said. "We were committed to this, so I don't want my answer to sound flippant, but I'm not interested in plural marriage anymore. I don't want the headache, the constant questions, the trust issues, and all the unknowns. I don't want to go looking for another woman. That's just not where I'm at," he admitted. Given that he and Robyn had been discussing soulmates only an episode prior, Kody's aversion to love seemed out of character. "I'm a fool for my woman," he said to his children. "When I married your mother, I didn't know she was my soul match, but I love her. Did I even know then? Do you remember when I said that word? It wasn't me who said it, was it?" Robyn attempted to play down their unique bond and terminology. It made complete sense, Robyn told the cameras. She said she had only ever used that term once, and that it didn't actually fit into their relationship narrative. Culture, then I realized it was wrong because of the other individuals in your life. I think it would be okay if you're my soulmate, but not all right if I'm yours. For the last decade, it's been clear that Kody loved Robyn. But for the last 2 seasons, he hasn't exactly treated her well. "When we failed at it," Kody said, "I was sabotaging myself because I'd been in plural marriage for so long, and marriage itself had become my sole focus." On the days Robyn was treated badly, Kody even thought about ending their relationship completely. She remained with him because they were soulmates, and she knew there would be advantages, but that was only because Kody was so broken, he began to hurt himself. Why Kody Brown will never leave. Robyn Brown, Sister Wives fans say Kody confessed that his marriage to Robyn was failing in the most recent episode. "You're pulling away from me because I was upset," he said to her. However, no one ever suspected for a moment that Kody would leave Robyn. "And because you were pulling away from me," he explained, "I was experiencing not only the anger of rejection, but also the fury of the breakdown of our plural marriage, and everything else that went with it. It was making me have really black thoughts about us," he admitted. They would never give the first 3 wives the pleasure of being right. Both Robyn and Kody hold grudges. Even more intriguing, Robyn disclosed a rule that she felt damaged Kody's marriages. Before she even became part of the family, Kody, Mary, Janelle, and Christine had agreed to not be affectionate with one another. "I always thought that was a mistake," Robyn remembered. Even though the couple remains intact, another large blow-up will have Robyn departing as well. "I do think it made Kody feel lonely, and I do think that it made all of us wives feel a little isolated," she said. Christine Brown discussed her cringeworthy first kiss with her husband Kody Brown in the April 27th edition of Sister Wives. In her first ever Valentine's Day with her new husband, David Woolley, Christine thought about how hard Valentine's Day is on polygamous families. Kody had attempted to be even-handed with all of his wives at that time to prevent jealousy. So the Browns would have family gatherings focused on rejoicing together. Rather than taking each other on a Valentine's Day date, the children spent time together, Christine told David. They were a lot of fun. We just concentrated on having fun, as opposed to the romance aspect of it. Occasionally, Kody would give out flowers, and then give us a kiss right in front of one another, she told him. That does sound kind of weird, David concurred. Photo source, TLC. Christine explained that she now understands how strange it was to marry a man who had sex and kissed other women. It was okay at the time because it was our culture. It's just what we did, she said. During a show confession, Christine said, "It's unbelievable to me now that I was okay with that. But I was perfectly fine at the time because it was a part of our religious tradition." It wasn't until Robyn Brown arrived on the scene that Christine began to feel jealousy. Christine was in favor of Kody's marriage to his fourth wife, until she learned they had kissed to confirm the engagement. The mother of 6 remembered, "I freaked." She hadn't known that was only the start of her trouble with Robyn. Christine explained, "I didn't feel comfortable kissing a married man. So, we didn't kiss until we were past the altar." It hurt her heart to find out Kody had kissed Robyn first. "Oh my God," she said. "When I discovered Kody had kissed Robyn, I thought, what the hell? You're not even married yet and you're kissing her? Why?" We had already discussed how uncomfortable our first kiss at the altar was in front of the other wives, Christine went on. And Kody said, "We discussed it beforehand." Kody had 2 wives at the time of that wedding, Mary Brown and Janelle Brown. He continued, "We even discussed how, the next time I married, you suggested we kiss first. But I didn't think it would really happen, and I didn't think it would hurt this bad." Few have opened up their personal lives to the same level of candor Kody Brown has, once at the center of a big plural marriage. It's a world dominated by changing allegiances and shattered trust, and he now tiptoes on a thin tightrope with only the final friend who has remained loyal. But even that ultimate bond is beginning to fracture. The guy who once professed the possibility of multiple commitment has become distant, disillusioned, and angry in the brutal spotlight of reality television. His erstwhile supercharged charisma lost its luster. And this is a man much altered by the rigors of public existence. Haunted by self-doubt and emotional burnout, Kody seemed to be a shadow of the guy he used to be. The most recent public photos took in an important moment, a quiet dinner with his sole remaining wife, formerly his emotional anchor. What was supposed to be a romantic night out became a somber monologue heavy with philosophical rumination and remorse, particularly poignant on a day set aside for loving. Instead of sharing laughter or tender words, the evening was spent as a site for Kody to vent years of repressed anger. With a grave expression on his face, he compared traditional marriage to smothering institutions and spoke of lifelong commitment as some sort of trap. He mused on how easy it is to create these bonds, yet how agonizingly hard it is to dismantle them, particularly when those bonds are tied together through layers of shared experience and spiritual ties. He challenged the very institution of marriage itself. Across the table, the woman sat in silence, sometimes casting a glance down at her neatly folded hands that lay in her lap. Her unease was evident. She no longer believed this man could soothe her or respect their relationship. This was not the man she knew. This was someone overcome by the shadows of the past. His anger at the dissolution of their family unit had gradually become bitterness, and now she was the one to bear its brunt. On what should have been a dinner à deux, he confessed he no longer wanted to handle the intricacies of shared relationships. He talked of feeling exhausted, of the emotional toll brought on by mistrust and unspoken doubts. He explained how the past had hurt him so badly that he wasn't ready to let new individuals in or reopen old wounds. "I'm not searching for another heart to hold," he said. "The storm left me empty, and I no longer want to battle the wind." These raw admissions were a far cry from declarations made mere episodes before, when he had proclaimed undying love for the woman across from him. He had once referred to her as his destiny, insisting he had finally come to understand, maybe too late, that she was the soul his own had been searching for. Amidst all the turmoil, that moment of emotional candor had provided fans with a glimpse of vulnerability and sensitivity. Now, however, contradictions painted a much more complex picture. The once distinct picture of a devoted husband had begun to blur. Once again, he confided in their children. He stumbled through memories and uncertain affirmations, questioning aloud whether he had ever truly spoken about the idea of soulmates. The term was met with quiet acceptance by the woman, herself a mother with deep emotional investments. She admitted that, at one point, she had felt it had no place in their shared reality, and that acknowledging such a bond might cause discomfort to those who had once been a part of his life. Despite their long history together, cracks had begun to show in their relationship long before this dinner. Over the course of several seasons, viewers witnessed an ever-growing distance between them. The warm smiles, good-natured teasing, and comforting gestures had been replaced by formal niceties and a crushing feeling of responsibility. He admitted there had been moments when he had considered ending even this last relationship. The emotional detritus scattered by the breakup of their extended family had driven him to the brink. He let loose about incidents of self-destruction, rage, despair, even suicidal thoughts of it all ending. Not because he didn't love her, but because the burden of his failures had shattered his spirit and his identity. And yet, she remained. She survived. She thought that fidelity would one day be repaid, not because she was stuck, but because she had decided to believe. However, most who have tracked their history over the years question if he would ever really leave her. It does not appear likely that he would abandon the sole partner remaining with him, regardless of how bitter his tirades or how melodramatic his collapses became. Their relationship is strained but supported by mutual defiance. Both of them, as a couple, have been united, although they have been criticized and ostracized by those they surround themselves with. To depart now, others propose, would be to concede defeat, and neither of them seems willing to permit that defeat. In a telling moment, the woman thought back to an earlier agreement made prior to her joining the family. In a bid to keep the peace and save egos, the original group had agreed not to display public displays of affection for each other. She quoted this old rule, but in retrospect, she knew that this rule might have sown seeds of separation instead of reconciliation. It had made each woman become more distant from the man they had in common, and this had subsequently isolated him further. Her voice cracked a little as she spoke about this error, an unusual showing of weakness from someone usually regarded as stoic. Her words implied that their whole journey could have been tainted with silent concessions and hidden feelings. Even in a crowded home, the lack of overt affection had left everyone isolated. Now that only the two of them are left after all the emotional devastation, they stand at a crossroad. He still struggles with his identity, torn between the world he lives in now and the ideals he once held on to. She, on the other hand, appears to be clinging to what is slipping further away from her, desperate for stability. The road ahead is uncertain. Their tenuous connection could easily break with one more emotional outburst. Those who have kept up with their tale know the irony all too well. In attempting to preserve it all, he might have lost it all. And now she might bear the greatest burden of them all, remaining faithful to a man who no longer holds the life they shared dear. Though once the preferred partner, her walk from oneness to loneliness has been lonely and agonizing. With each loose conversation and each naked confession, the tattered edges of their relationship are even more apparent. The story has changed. It's no longer simply the story of a man and his wives. It has turned into the tale of two people struggling with love, grief, and the shards of a dream that can never again be made whole. What was to be a time of unadulterated happiness for Christine became instead a time of introspection. On a sunny day that was all about celebrating love, memories from a very different life, long past, started to surface. Seated next to her new lover, surrounded by the heat of their first real celebration of love, memories of her former life came flooding back. As layers stripping away at an old photograph, the recollections of a life once encompassed by mutual responsibilities and subtle affections started to unfurl. Sitting with the man who had renewed her confidence in one-on-one love, Christine divulged the peculiar dynamic of affection in her first marriage, in the house she had once made her own.